Konnichiwa, Kawaii Critic here to share my thoughts on Captain America's Civil War. Now, the first question I'm sure somebody's going to be asking, whose side was I on? Was I on Team Cap or Team Iron Man? Well, I'm proud to say that I'm on neither side, believe it or not, because I represent my own team, Team Zeke, my own superhero that I created in my book. That's somewhat of a failure, but nonetheless, that's the team I like to represent. Team Zeke. Yeah. Now, back to the movie. It's a pretty solid film. And sure, is it the best superhero film ever? I don't know about that, but it's pretty good. Pretty good. So, yeah, that's what I think about it. Now, there is something else I wanted to talk about, though. How does it compare to Batman vs. Superman? Now, for those of you who don't know, on my other channel, I gave Batman vs. Superman a 7 out of 10, as I thought it was a pretty enjoyable film. And when I reviewed Civil War, I also gave it a 7 out of 10. Believe it or not, after watching both movies, I still see them as equals, as I kind of assumed that they were going to be before I watched either of these movies, as they share a very similar premise, with two superheroes or more clashing in the case of the Civil War. I guess the first question is Batman vs. Superman as bad as everyone says it is? And I'm going to say no. Okay, first and foremost, there were a lot of people saying that having Batman and Superman both be hypocrites is really stupid and it sort of ruins the film. And I ask, does it really? I mean, look at YouTube and look at some YouTubers. There are some YouTubers that are hypocrites, but does that really make them the worst of the worst? I don't know. I mean, I don't usually follow those people, but does it make them bad if they say one thing one time and another thing another time? I don't know. Does it really ruin the movie? I'm gonna say no still. I mean, let's look at it this way. Superman's actions are a mistake. So him being a hypocrite kind of makes sense. He didn't mean to kill people on purpose. He didn't know what he was doing in Man of Steel. He was still getting used to his powers. And Batman is the much darker version of Batman, who's tired and sick of villains just running around. And he kind of sees Superman as this threat, as he was there. So I can kind of see where they're both coming from, even though they're. Is it that they're hypocrites? I don't even know if that's the word I could necessarily use. It's odd, is what it is. But does it ruin the movie? Again, I still say no. Now, another point that I like to bring up in the thoughts is what Batman and Superman standing for strong enough to carry this film. And from the reviews I've seen, a lot of people say that they're just fighting for a very simple reason and they don't have any morals and all that good stuff. And they do have reasons, so I don't know. It's sort of okay, I guess. But what they stand for is something I want to talk about. What do they represent in this film? Because I actually think what they did was extremely clever. In fact, I would argue that it might be even more clever than what they did in the Civil War, maybe, or just as equal. I mean, we have Superman, who I feel represents his actions. That is his moral compass. He's gonna do whatever it takes with his actions to do and save whoever he can. And he does a whole montage of him saving people and so on and so forth. Well, for Batman, He represents his words. And sure, his words are a bit corny as he says he's gonna make Superman bleed, but he does so. He keeps his word. So that's what I feel Batman represents. They still represent something. It's not the thing that most people would think they would represent normally, but it is still something. And getting back to that, um, is the whole Martha thing really that bad either? I mean, Iron Man kind of does the same thing, except it's the opposite effect. We have a man who lost his mother, and then he goes completely berserk, not even listening to what Cap has to say. And we have Batman who's lost his mother, who's Martha, and then we have Superman's mother, who's still alive, who's also named Martha. And Batman sees that he can save somebody else instead of wasting his time fighting Superman. And again, I ask, does that necessarily ruin the film? I'm gonna say still, no. It still is good enough reason. I mean, there are some superheroes in this movie that have their time to shine, and there are some superheroes that just sort of come in. Hawkeye is an example. Falcon sort of just seems sort of placed in here. War Machines also seems sort of placed in here. Ant-Man also seems sort of placed in here. And the rest do get some stuff, and some of it's okay, and some of it is great. I think Vision is still okay, and I still uh, feel like Scarlet Witch was cool and all, but her power set does make me question a lot of things, like, couldn't she just solve the problem? I don't know how her powers work, so I can't really say for sure. Anyways, I still see these movies as equals. I mean, Captain America still has its flaws. Like, both of their villains fall completely fat, just like Doomsday did. So, really, I don't know. I mean, I still see these two films as equals. I don't. For everything that stands out in this film, I could say that there's something as equally that stands out in Batman vs. Superman. You know, when we have Black Panther doing his cool ass stuff, that just makes me go, well, Batman did his cool ass stuff in Batman vs. Superman. Spider Man does his cool stuff, but it doesn't really even last that long. Kinda like Superman. These two movies do have a lot in common now that I really think about it. Eh, it's almost as if they share the exact same pacing issues. I mean, it's all build up with some action here and there, with more build up, with more action here and there, and then the finale. Sure, Captain America's actual final technical battle does last the longer of the two. And yeah, it is. That moment within itself is quite a spectacle. And sure, that moment in itself might trump Batman vs. Superman's actual battle, but does it make it necessarily the better film? I don't know. I still see the films as equals. But the last thing I'll say is for all the superheroes I've mentioned, I found out one thing on my other channel. One very important thing when it comes to Team Zeke, the team that I said I represented in the morning, in the earlier part of this video. And what Team Zeke has done is challenged every single superhero I've mentioned, and none of them has stepped up. So I guess in the end, all the superheroes are cowards. Each and every single one of them. That's right. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say, even though both movies are great, every superhero represented in the Civil War and Batman vs. Superman are cowards. I mean, none of them has stepped up, so that's only what it could mean. I'm Kawaii Critic. Remember, guys, keep it kawaii.